Wow. Where are we going first, sir?
Well, first, I need to recap the listeners.
Do we have to do that? Okay.
We do, because, this thing's getting close, sir. So you still have a small margin lead on me in the overall win-loss pick'em. 96-50 you are on the season. I am 94-52. However, against the spread, making the people money, I'm your guy for that. Mm-hmm. So I pull out to a nice lead. I think I'm safe now. Nice 7-game lead. I'm 75, 66, and 5 on the season to your 68, 73, and 5 against the spread. So, it's been a challenging season, and I got into a big hole early on, and I told you it was a long season, and it looks like, I don't want to say it, a little bit like your Tennessee Volunteers, stumbling down the stretch. Oh, that's all I'm saying. Chase Thomas, 3-8 against the spread, 4-7 overall last week. I didn't want to say it, but oddly similar, eerily similar. So yeah, we'll see what happens. 2-game lead going in this final week. We got 10 games to pick, and then no home dogs this week, conference championship week. So Zeus finishes the season. A respectable 9-5 on the year with 4 straight wins to end it out. So 9-5 on the year for his home dog of the week. But you ready to get into this thing? Let's do it.
Let's do it. Matt Green, where are we going first?
So starting it off, Friday night, we got Pac-12 championship. Utah Utes, USC Trojans. Trojans are a 3-point favorite in this one. How do you see it going, sir?
This is going to be, I'm glad this is on Friday so I can pay more attention to this one on Friday. This is like I think the most exciting of all the conference championship games. I don't know if you agree, but I think this is the most interesting and most exciting from the weekend. And I think it's the most intense because I think we can disagree on what happens with TCU if they lose. I think everyone agrees that if USC loses, they're out. The Pac-12 is not going to get an at-large bid. So I think they're playing for their playoff lives. Even if Caleb Williams wins the Heisman, all that kind of stuff, I think this is a gigantic moment for USC in this program. My question was does USC have to win to make the playoff? And I think they do. But I mean, it's 100%. So interesting because Williams is accounted for, so he has 44 total touchdowns, both when you combine through the air and on the ground, in his 12 games at USC. That broke the previous school record of 41, it was by Matt Barkley in 2011, and then Cody Kessler also had 41 in 2014. He was a sneaky, great, forgotten USC quarterback, Cody Kessler was. But he's just on a hot streak right now. He is playing like a different quarterback than what he was at Utah at this point in the year. His last 6 games, Williams has 20 passing TDs, 7 rushing touchdowns in 6 games, and almost 2,500 yards in total offense. He's just playing out of this world. I also think it's weird how Utah got into this game. You mentioned it last week on the podcast where it's this weird situation where Utah got in because Oregon's loss made it weird, and it was a 3-way tie. It was very strange how Utah got into this to begin with, and Whittingham spoke about it, and he said, quote, "That was a roller coaster," he said about the weekend to Desert News, and he said, "This is weird. I can't believe they tell coaches this during games, but apparently it did happen to Utah," where he said, quote, "When it was 31-10 for Oregon, I got an update on the sidelines in Boulder. Somebody sent me a GameCast thing on ESPN that said 99.3 chance of winning or something like that. That was a little bit of a downer." Why would you tell the coach this at this point? What are we doing? Why are you telling him that Oregon's up big? So what do you want him to do with that information in the middle of a game against Colorado? That was just so strange.
You're saying they told him that Oregon was up big early?
Yes.
Before they blew the lead?
Yes.
Or I guess they were up 31-10. That was
yes.
third quarter, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, that is interesting. I didn't realize that someone would be telling the head coach that.
Why would you tell him? That's so weird. But look,
I guess that Colorado game They had that one. They had that one in hand. So
it's hard to beat teams twice. But you know who beat the same team twice to win the Pac-12 last year? It was the Utah Utes, Matt Green. But this is still a Utah team that lost to a bad Florida team on the road. That Cam Rising, I like Dalton Kincaid. I like when Utah is able to play their kind of game. They're down a big-time running back here. This doesn't feel the same as last year. This just, for me, I don't think they're going to be able to score enough offensively to win this one. I don't think the matchup is great for the Utes. I think it's just going to be too much to beat what Caleb Williams is doing with this offense right now. I thought travesty going down would hurt USC a lot more than it has. They just plug and play with Austin Jones. Jordan Addison is going to be healthy in this one. Their defense still stinks, but if you ever want to have a bad defense, it's against Utah. I think USC wins this and covers.
What's with the disrespect of Utah's offense?
Are you a believer?
USC is averaging 42.5 points per game. Utah's averaging 39.6. They're like, those are essentially the same. Like they're averaging 40 points a game. Like I feel like Utah's getting a little slept on in this game.
Well, here's the thing. They average 44 points per game when they win, 25 points per game when they lose, 46.7 at home, 32.2 on the road against FBS teams with a winning record, 31.7, non-winning, 42.0. I'm telling you, Mike Green, there's some discrepancies in the way Utah scores.
No, without a doubt. USC, they're the sexier offense. Like, I can see it. Caleb Williams, he's an X factor. But Utah does have the number one defense in the Pac-12. Number one rush defense, number one pass defense, number one scoring defense. This was an absolute shootout last time these teams played. Over 1,000 yards of total offense. I think it was 562 to 556 in favor of Utah. I was going back and forth on this game because I'll be honest, I want to pick USC because I want a nice little neat college football playoff that there's no real controversy. Everyone that's in deserves it.
You just want to blast Lincoln Riley.
No, I mean I don't know that Georgia would blast USC. I don't want Ohio State in the playoff because I feel like same with Alabama. Like they didn't win their conference.
We don't have to relitigate it.
We don't have to go to it. Yeah, for sure. But looking at Utah, they are balanced. They have one of the better offenses. They're not just this Iowa, they just play defense and don't know how to play offense. Like they have the best defense by a good margin in the Pac-12. And they also have a solid offense. So I think I'm going to do it. This was my preseason prediction. Oh, I skimmed over that.
I think we should do it for each when we get to each game, like what our preseason was, and
that's what I'm saying. This is the game right here. My preseason prediction, not to toot my own horn here, Utah USC was my prediction, and my prediction in the preseason was the Utah Utes winning this thing. So I gotta stick with it. Utah Utes. They're gonna bust this open. So you, sir, had the Utah Utes and the UCLA Bruins in this game. Very close. And you had Utah winning this. But today, you're going with the Trojans.
I am. So we disagree. Right. This is a big moment on Friday night for us in the show.
Right off the bat. So keeping it moving, our next game, we're going to the SEC Championship. Georgia LSU. Georgia is a 17.5 point favorite in this game.